So I'm sure there's people out there that know how to do like a screenshot, like a graphic, but this is mine. Rouleaux 101. Welcome to Rouleaux 101. Hey everybody, welcome to 2020. Here we are, all still together again. Hope everybody had a good holiday, and here's to phenomenal 2020. This is going to be the year that I'm hoping everybody is going to get themselves over that last little hurdle, or if it applies, over the main portion of your hurdle, and get back into to fighting form. I haven't this video, as you notice, there's no Newfoundland insignia on my shirt, so I'm not going to actually put this video on my website because I don't think, or on my on the Green Newfie channel, because it really doesn't have anything to do with diet, or it doesn't really have anything to do with supplements and food and all that kind of stuff. There has been some. I've been meaning to do a few more videos, but honestly, I've been getting a little bit of my life back, slowly but surely, and it's great. I still have a ways to go. I was at the dentist at Judson Walls today, and they were doing a laser on my jaw because I've still got some problems with my with the necrotic bone, but he's still looking after me, which is great. But there's been a couple of chats on the forum about the Wim Hof and the freezing stuff, so I'm going to do a video on that. And then this video I wanted to do just to talk about the rouleauing, because somebody posted not too long ago about rouleaux and what it is, and I'm certainly not going to put this on the Green Newfie channel because nobody in the world knows what rouleauing is unless you have major health challenges, just like everybody in this room does. So talking about dark field microscopes and Rouleaux and all that kind of stuff is just like talking about anything to a regular person. So we all know about it, but certainly I wouldn't put it on my channel. So somebody had posted a question about, how do you get rid of Rouleauing? So Rouleauing is not a horrible thing. It's not the greatest thing. But ultimately, if your blood cells are free and moving, vibrantly throughout your body, you're obviously going to get more nutrients and oxygen and whatnot to the cells, and that's all a good thing. So Rouleauing, for general purposes, in case you don't know what it is, your blood cells should all be separate and bouncing off each other. Negative charges on them keeps them bouncing around. I've always been an alkalarian for a long time, and everything has to do with acids or alkalinity. And I actually did a little program with Robert Young, who's a lot of people love him, a lot of people think he's crazy, but it is all very logical. And when you see it under a microscope, it's science. It's not I think it's this or I think it's that. It's chemistry and biology, which you can't avoid. When the pH of the blood is too low, the cells will wear down and the underlying positive charge will get them to clump together. That's what rouleauing is. If anybody tells you anything else, they're wrong. It's a condition that can be regulated by the pH, and I am going to prove it to you all scientifically, because I do have a microscope downstairs, and I know I've been looking at my blood for 7 years now. I don't know every single thing on the screen. I'm not a microscopist by any stretch of the imagination, but I play one at home. So I can certainly give you an example. So what I'm going to do is I am going to have a pretty bad slip day in terms of food. I'm going to barbecue myself a big steak. I'm going to drink a gallon of kombucha, which has a pH of 3 or 4. I'm going to flood my body. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to work out like a maniac. I'm going to flood my body with lactic acid. Then I'm going to have a protein shake after that, which floods me full of protein, which breaks down as an acid. And after a few hours of all that, every bit of that acidity will wind up in my bloodstream. So I'm going to take a video of my blood on a computer. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do it. I'm going to have to set up my phone to videotape my computer as I'm doing my blood, because I have a camera that sits on top of my dark field, and it can project an image to the computer. So I'm going to do a before and then an after. And this should eliminate any doubt on this, because when in the forum, and what I love about Facebook and forums and Klinghardt forum in particular, people care, man. There's a lot of people in there that want to see everybody well. And a lot of people throw out ideas. You can post just about anything in there and say, what do I do about this? And in that chat room, there were people talking about PEMF and grounding and garlic and turmeric and Linus Pauling and serapeptase and natto and all this kind of stuff. And that's not right. That's not right for Rouleauing. But I don't want to keep people from giving their opinions on things because, that's how we learn, right? Now, does PEMF have an alkalizing effect on the blood? Possibly. I don't know. But taking things like garlic and turmeric and all that kind of stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. I take I eat that stuff all the time, but it's not going to cure Rouleauing. I can tell you as sure as there's poop in a puppy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video to scientifically prove it. My blood is almost always separate because my diet is very good. So I'm going to do the exact opposite of that, and I'm going to flood my body with acidity. And even if it's just as much as drinking, I mean, you can really do it by drinking, like a kombucha or having, crappy food or whatever. All that breaks down and goes into the blood, and the blood kicks it all into the blood, and the pH of the blood will drop. And my blood will go from big round bouncing off each other to an entire screen full of Rouleaux. And I know it will. I don't even have to do it. I mean, I know it is. It's just basic biology and chemistry. And then what I'm going to do after that is I am going to flip the switch. I have a pH water filter in my kitchen that kicks out about a pH of about 10. I'm going to put in alkaline drops. I'm going to put in trace minerals. I'm going to shoot 3 or 4 big scoops of wheatgrass powder, which has one of the highest pHs of anything. I am going to supplement all just by having some food. Eat some high pH foods and a lot of high pH liquids. I'm going to take some water. I'm going to put in 2 or 3 teaspoons of real salt and trace minerals. And when all that alkalinity, I'm going to drink it and eat it. And then I'm going to wait an hour or maybe 2 hours, 2 hours for sure, because everything has to go through the alimentary canal into the gut and out. And that takes a time period for food to digest. It doesn't take as long for liquids to digest. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to use my dark field and I'm going to videotape my cells after the fact. And I'm hoping that that's going to put to rest any questions that anybody has on what Rouleauing is. You're not going to cure Rouleauing with garlic. You're not going to cure Rouleauing with Linus Pauling. You're not going to cure it. Technically, Linus Pauling was a vitamin C guy. So, vitamin C is ascorbic acid. Ascorbic acid, once it goes through the alimentary canal into the stomach, out into the intestines, goes into the bloodstream as an acid. So technically, anything vitamin C, Linus Pauling, is going to actually increase Rouleauing because it's an acid. And as Tony Robbins talks about in his Ultimate Health video, anything that you put in your mouth has to be assimilated or eliminated. If I try to eat a knife, I can't assimilate a knife. My body has to eliminate it. And that's the same with an acid. Your body cannot absorb an acid. It has to eliminate the acid. So, it sends it off to the fecations, the defecation, urination, perspiration, anything, and ultimately pushes it into the blood to get rid of it. So this should be an interesting little project. I'm already sure the answer, so I'm not going to be surprised in the slightest. But I hope it gives a little bit of closure on the issue. Having a little bit of Rouleaux is not the end of the world, but you just don't want to be perpetually living your life with Rouleaux blood because you're really not getting the nutrients and oxygen to the cells. So let's have a little experiment. All right. Hey, okay, so here we go. We are getting it all set up. So we've got the microscope, and we've got a computer. We have got alcohol pads. We've got lances. We've got microscope slides. And right here we have microscope covers. So I don't know how the camera is going to pick this up at all, but we have to be very careful not to contaminate the slides. So I am going to just clean off one of my fingers. Little blow, and then take one of the lances and off goes the top. And you have to make sure too when you do this, and this is kind kind of a little more than the scope of the conversation, but you have to make sure the alcohol really comes off it, because if the alcohol mixes with the blood, it's going to throw off the readings of the slide. So we're going to give myself a little jab right there. And as you can see, or maybe you can, or maybe you can't, blood is starting to come up. So I'm going to do a live blood draw and not a dried, just for the purpose of the discussion. So as you can see, the little ball of blood is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Kind of got to squeeze it a little bit, work it around. And then we will take our slide and we will drop it right smack dab in the middle of the slide. Now, we want to make sure we don't put the slide down or contaminate it with anything. And then we are going to take a microscope cover, slide cover. And we're going to put this on. And it will give us a little drop of blood that we can analyze. Okay, so let me get the computer set up, and I'll be right back with the look of the blood after some relatively not healthy food and some very high acidic fluids. So here we go. Okay, well, here's the carnage. It looks absolutely disgusting. This makes me want to throw up. Yeah, there isn't a single cell in here that is separate. It's all glued together because the pH of the blood is dropped and the negative charge is sucking it. The positive charge is sucking them all together. So I will now go, that's a 10 times view, and now I'll take it to a 40 times, and then you can have a closer look. Just stand by. Okay, so here it is under 40 times, and you can see there is literally not a single separate cell to be had. I would zip around the slide just to show you, but the computer that I use to see this is really old, and it goes really slow. So that's basically it. That's Rouleaux 101. My blood usually is never like this at all because of the diet that I have and the food that I eat, and I keep myself pretty green and alkaline. But when you don't, and it can happen, this really can change within an hour, depending on what you eat or if you're stressed or whatever. So this is a Rouleaux condition of my blood. Okay, so now I am going to go upstairs and I am going to start ODing on all things green. So I'll take a little video of that, and then I'm going to come back down. I'm going to wait an hour or so, and I'll come back down, and we will take a look again. Okay, so here we are back in the kitchen. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to just hit all things green. So I grabbed a tub of wheatgrass. I grabbed my tub of broccoli sprouts that I use for Klinghardt. Got to think that's got a pretty high pH. This is the bomb right here. It's just liquid green mint chlorophyll. This stuff has a pH that's off the chart completely. And ultimately, I am going to do a quick little test. So I have an alkaline filter in my house. So I took two identical shot glasses, and I'll put this alkaline water here. And then in this empty one, I just have a bottle of just regular old bottled water that you would buy at Costco or something, with my little Newfoundland dog on the front of it. All right. And then I'm going to just pour up a little bit in that. So I've got two identical shot glasses, and one is with my alkaline water from the alkaline filter, and the other one is just bottled water, which is one of the nastiest things you can actually drink. The pH of bottled water is absolutely horrible. So just as an example, so the spectrum of alkaline versus pH, anything orange, yellow is battery acid, anything purple is good for you. So I'm going to just do a quick little test just to show you. And I'm going to drop a couple of drops into the bottle with the Newfoundland guy on it, which is the bottled water from the store. And as you can see, it's orange, which means that has a pH of probably about 3 or 4. Red would be 3, orange would be 4. So that is reddish orange. So every time you drink a bottle of water from the store, you're just chugging acid. There's no other way to describe it. Okay, so there it is right there. Now, my glass of water from my alkaline filter in my house, I'm going to put a couple of drops in, and let's check the color of this guy. Purple as purple can be. This has a pH of north of 10, probably 10.5. So if you look at the the little chart here, the purple, you can't see that for beans. Anyway, it's completely off the chart. So here's the two of them side by side. So my filter has alkaline minerals put into it, and it comes out nice and pH of about 10.5. And then this thing here is a bottle of water that you would buy right out of the shelf that has a pH of 3 or 4. So if you drink lots of this, it's going to wind up in your blood. The cells are going to break down. You drink lots of this, or eat lots of green leafy vegetables, or juice, cucumber, celery, spinach, kale, all that kind of stuff. This is what you get. So I am now going to take a standard old size shaker cup. I'm going to fill it up with the 10 pH water from my tap. I'm going to add broccoli sprouts. I'm going to add wheatgrass. This is wheatgrass, barley grass, shaved grass, a whole bunch of different types of alfalfa grasses and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to finish it off just for fun with some liquid chlorophyll. I'm going to fill this thing to the top, which isn't very much, and then I'm going to down it. And then I'm going to wait an hour, and then we'll go downstairs and we'll measure the blood again, and we'll see how it looks. All righty, here we go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, me again. All right, so we are now 29 minutes from my drink. It'll work already. I know it will. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to prick my finger and I'm going to put the blood on the microscope, and then I'll show everybody. So again, I have no doubt that I will not have any rouleaux at all. It's not a question of if. It's a question, again, of biology and chemistry. So on that list that everybody was talking about things, I'm not poo-pooing every idea, but, because, PEMF will, in theory, put a positive charge on your body. So if that can make it through to the blood, then that could work too, but it's only temporary. If you really want to have blood that has no rouleaux, then you need to increase your alkaline intake. That's it. You can try to do all the other things, and test it out. But this will be proof positive that it is a fleeting situation. If you continually eat acidic food, you're going to have continual state of rouleaux. If you introduce the alkaline foods, the alkaline beverages and liquids and all that kind of stuff, your blood will be unrouleaued. So I won't video me doing the Lancet again, but give me a couple seconds. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so here we are back in the back on my desk that has more supplements and foolishness than you can shake a stick at. I've got the microscope on, I've got the blood slide on, and here we go. There is not a single rouleaued cell anywhere in there at all. That little thing in the middle, it looks like, I'm not entirely sure what that is. That could very well be a uric acid crystal, because I did eat meat earlier today, which is what made my blood so acidic in the first place. So it could very well be that that's, because it's so bright and shiny, it's probably a uric acid crystal. But you can see the blood cells, they're all separate. There's none rouleaued together, and that's throughout the entire slide. I didn't pick this because this is the one drop of blood that everything is fine and everything else is rouleaued. It doesn't work like that. So I would spin the thing around, but like I said, the computer is so slow, it just kind of goes into a blurry situation. But as you can see there, those blood cells are individual, they are separate, and this is 29 minutes after I increased my alkaline uptake. So I went from having all that acid and the acidic kombucha and the meat and all that kind of stuff, plus the uric acid from working out. And then I just had one single cup, a glass. So it was probably 2 cups of green liquid at a high pH, and that was it. I have done nothing else. I actually just sat down for 30 minutes and I watched an episode of The Blackadder. And then I came out and I did the blood again. So there you go. So I hope that puts to rest any questions about rouleaux. I wouldn't stress out too much about it, but obviously those blood cells are very vibrant and they're all bouncing off of each other and they're all happy. And when they're happy, they travel around better, they get oxygen and nutrients to the cells better. So this is the ideal condition that you want. So, keep going with the chlorophyll, keep going with the greens, and, keep the stress levels down and try not to eat any foods that have got an acidic ash to them, if you're really concerned about rouleauing of your blood. So anyway, I hope that puts it to rest. And best of luck, guys. I hope everybody has a great 2020.